Hello, I'm Didier Jean-Baptiste, the Dean of the Senior Class at St. Benedict's. Welcome to the Senior Award Ceremony for the Class of 2020. This event, traditionally a dinner held on the Thursday before graduation, has been moved to this virtual format this year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But the purpose and spirit remain the same. We are here to recognize each member of the Class of 2020 and to present a dozen or so awards to students who have excelled in different academic, spiritual, and leadership aspects. Each senior will be spoken about by a faculty member, beginning with the seniors in Maroon section, followed by those in blue, white, and gray. When all the seniors in a section have been recognized, the finalists, if any, from that section for the Presidential Award, St. Benedict's most prestigious award, will be announced. The winner of the Presidential Award, along with the other senior awards, will be announced at Friday's convocation. Before opening the event to our faculty speakers, I ask Father Edwin to start us off with a prayer.
Thanks, Didier. Let us pray. Lord, we ask tonight a double portion of your spirit that we may have wisdom and insight, fortitude, long-suffering, the willingness to love the other the way the other is. Help us to always accept our shortcomings and be grateful for our talents and our strengths. We're grateful for this class of 2020, who have led us through the most difficult circumstances perhaps that we've dealt with, at least since I've been headmaster. Lord, we're asking that you bless them, that they may continue to be leaders as they leave here and move on in their life, always remaining attached to us. Give them a spirit of loving service to all those lives that they touch. We ask you to bless them, hold them in the palm of your hand, keep them close to your heart, that they may always be under your protection. We make our prayer as always in your matchless and mighty name. Let all in the court say amen.
Amen. Thank you, Father Edwin. We will start with the seniors in Joe K. And the first student is Justin, who coincidentally I have to speak about. So Justin tells me that he's much more outgoing and extroverted when he's with his friends. It's hard to imagine that based on his interactions with teachers, but quiet Justin is a great guy nonetheless. Justin is an aquatics guy, varsity swimmer, varsity water polo. And his career at Benedict's is what you'd expect from a person who is used to doing lap after lap in the pool. He is here all the time, putting in the hard work in everything he does, in the classroom, in the pool, and in the backpacking project. Justin just takes calmly one stroke at a time, efficiently getting things done without making a wave. Justin, I hope you get to Montclair State and keep your great work ethic, your self-understanding, and your desire to keep on improving. I know that when the fun side comes out of you, you'll have the discipline to put it away and get back to swimmer's mentality, the swimmer's mentality that served you so well. So keep up the hard work, have a little fun, and I wish you all the best at Montclair State next year. Next is Israel.
Hi, Israel. So I can still remember the version of you that entered my summer phase test taking course. You were a transfer student, and that summer students wore the maroon shirts and you had the earrings in, and you were trying to be the cool guy on campus. And that version of you and the version I've had the pleasure of teaching in pre-calculus semester has always been a fantastic student and a real joy to have in class. But I would be remiss to say that there weren't lots of emails sent about you and your behavior and your attitude and when you weren't where you were supposed to be. So just make sure that everyone gets to see the version of you that I know, especially people that want to help you. And you have a real natural talent in soccer and in education. So don't let that stop you from working hard. I'm excited to see what you do at Caldwell next year. You're a great student, and good luck.
Thank you, Ms. Cronz. Mr. Duffy, can you tell us a little something about Simon?
Absolutely. Simon. Interesting thing about Simon is I don't quite remember when I met him, but I distinctly remember meeting his parents before he was even a student. They remembered me. I'm not sure if it's because I gave them good news or bad news, because our conversation dealt with tuition and financial aid. But then I got to meet Simon over the years, and eventually was lucky enough to have him in medieval history class. Simon, you have an excellent work ethic that will get you through anything that you put your mind to. The funny story is I remember talking to Simon. He was on the exchange program to the Netherlands, and about 7 days before we were supposed to take off, he came to me in a near panic and told me he wasn't sure if he was able to go because he was concerned about the course he was also taking at NJIT. Luckily, we worked it out, although he spent a lot of late nights in the Netherlands doing his homework. We got everything worked out. We were able to enjoy not only class together, but an excursion overseas. So wishing you well next year as you go north up to Fairfield University.
Thank you, Mr. Duffy. Ms. Cronz, you've got EJ.
EJ, teaching you was an experience to say the least. You have an incredible attention to detail, even though sometimes the details come at you a little bit fast. One of my favorite stories of EJ is we were reviewing one day in calculus, and EJ had to work on his packet. And I noticed in the corner, he kept going like this, and then like this, and like this. And he was checking his wave in between math problems. After every problem, he would check his wave with his camera and brush it again. EJ, you always made me laugh, especially when you were trying to solve a math problem and you would finally get it right and you would make your notable noise of yeah. So make sure everyone gets to know the EJ that we know, because you bring a smile to a lot of people's faces. And I wish you good luck next year with your future endeavors.
Thank you, Ms. Cronz. Father Edwin, you have the pleasure of speaking about Manny.
Well, we hope that Manny's here to watch this. I mean, it would be great if he is, because we frequently had to call him to get him to come to various things at school. And Manny's a fight that I had with Manny, and I'm sure many of the fight his mom and dad had with him also. And one day we hope that he'll come to terms with the challenges that he has, but also with the gifts that he has, and it becomes more willing to share those gifts with the lives that he will touch in life. We're grateful that he stuck with it and has been here for 4 years. We're grateful for his presence on our soccer team. And we pray that he is willing to share his gifts and not just be conscious of his struggles in school. Once Manny doesn't have to deal with school, I think he will thrive. There are lots of people like that. Once they can get school behind them, and whenever that comes, they can do a whole lot better. So thank you, Manny, for being here. Thanks for trusting me and us, and we look forward to you being in and out of this place here in the future.
Thanks, Father Ed. I've got to call on you again. Another member of Joe K. It's group leader, Jesus.
Jesus, I've known since he was a little boy. His brother went to school here with us as well. And then what a lot of people don't know, I used to pass him pretty regularly on weekends when I would be out running or walking and going by the car wash. And lo and behold, he would be in there working in the car wash. So we used to see each other frequently on Saturdays or Sundays as well. He's always been a quiet presence in that group, always has a smile, and he does some of the most difficult tasks without any negative reaction. He was on top of his guys in his group almost all of the time. And if he had a difficult student, he would email me and let me know what he needed me to do to help. I have a great respect for his leadership, and I hope that that leadership continues as he goes to Rutgers in Newark, I think, correct, Mr. Jean-Baptiste?
That's correct, Father Ed.
So thank you, Jesus.
Thanks, Father Ed. Mr. White, Ibrahim is for you.
Oh, Ibrahim, it's been a very long 4 years. We're very, very sad to see it go, but always knew that this was a part of the process. Incredibly proud of you and everything that you've accomplished so far. You always reminded me of one of the great Stoics that said, "Dwell in the beauty of life and watch the stars and see yourself run with them." You know, that was Marcus Aurelius. And just make sure that you do more of that, right? Do more of seeing yourself run with the stars. I know you do a great job of cultivating your intelligence, your love, your passion for your family, especially your mom and your dad and your siblings, but use that for yourself too, so that you can achieve the things that you want to achieve. Incredibly proud of you. I know we'll get to see lots of you at races, hopefully, because we're going to be going down to Delaware. So we'll see you and Anthony and Kevin. So all the best. Be safe, and always stay in touch.
Thanks, Mr. White. You're also down to talk about justice.
Oh, justice. I can't wait to see you go so you can come back. You're a great kid. You're always a handful, to say the least, but you were a blessing in many ways to our community, to the team, and to the people around you. You have an energy about yourself that, if cultivated the right way, could do wonders for the people around you. And I really hope that you learn and dedicate time to be able to do that. And just remember, I can speak for myself, what helped me in this process is just remember that you have an obligation to the people that helped you get where you are now. And remembering your mom, that'll help keep you on that road in the events that someone tries to take you off it. All right. We're incredibly proud of you. I wish you all the best at ECC next year, and stay on the right path, bud.
Thank you, Mr. White. Mr. Rodriguez, you have the pleasure of speaking about Princeton.
Princeton, or Thickums, as most of us know you in the 520 room. You were probably the grumpiest person in 520, even grumpier than me. I don't think I can remember another student who walked into our room, our locker room, angry and annoyed as many times as you did. It was an anomaly to see you walk into our room happy, as you usually stormed the room, threw your stuff down, and complained about what faculty members screwed you for that day. That being said, by the end of work, your face will light up and your playful and goofy personality will come out. You want to be a doctor, and although you were far from having the maturity to pursue that degree when I had you in Spanish class, you have truly matured academically and can now say that if you remain focused from the start, you will have the tools and ability to become one. You have an incredible, compassionate heart and are extremely loyal to things you commit to. And those are traits that I will want in any of my doctors. And although you quite never made it to Princeton, I'm glad that you will be staying close to us at Rutgers Newark. I will miss you, buddy.
Thanks, Mr. Rodriguez. I've got the duty of speaking about Justin, our first member, actually it's the second member of Prof. Blood. Justin, there's no denying that you struggled when you first got to Benedict's, but what an amazing turnaround. The last 3 years, you've had a 3.0 or higher to end the year. So congratulations on really being trusting with your teachers and us, being open to taking the long road to success. Thanks too for being an anchor to the baseball team. Your openness, your willingness to listen, your sense of humor, your work ethic are going to take you a lot of places in life. Keep up that great balance of focus in the classroom, participating in activities, and creating good relationships with classmates and teachers. And you'll do great at Felician University next year. Congratulations, Justin. Mariano, Mr. Molina. Actually, no, it's not Mr. Molina. About Mariano, it's Mr. Adebato. You've got Mariano.
Whenever I was grading the seniors' journal entries, I would get excited when I saw that Mariano's was coming up next in the Google Classroom. I was excited to read his entries, not necessarily because they were amongst the longest of all the journal entries, which they were, but because of how intensely profound and introspective they were. Mariano thinks deeply about life and is not afraid to go against the grain. He's also passionate about reading, music, art, and cooking. And you know this if you've tried his delicious fried rice. But what I admire most about Mariano is that he is unapologetically himself. This is one of the greatest traits someone can have going into their young adulthood. So Mariano, I ask that you keep being you, keep following your passions, that you delve deeper into those questions you have about life's meaning. Best of luck.
Thank you, Mr. Adebato. Mr. Molina, can you tell us a little bit about Charlie?
Sure thing. Charlie found his way to us from England somehow this year. I don't quite know the story exactly, but he is currently a frontline essential worker at Tesco, which is a supermarket chain in England. And although he is 6 hours ahead, he's always in class. His Google Meet backgrounds may even be better than Father Edwin's. His favorite background, of course, is Big Chungus, which is a picture of a big fat Bugs Bunny. Charlie has a funny accent and a great sense of humor, and more importantly, he has a big heart. I have two regrets of Charlie's time at Benedict's. The first is that he never had the courage to play me one-on-one on the lower court. And the second is that he didn't start at Benedict's as a freshman. It makes me a bit sad we didn't have more time to make jokes with each other and to get to know one another. Charlie has not finalized his plans for next year, but we wish him good luck on whatever he decides.
Thanks, Mr. Molina. Up next is Malachi, and I asked Mr. White if he can say a few words about Malachi.
Malachi, our walk together started your freshman year in math, where you were a pain. You were a colossal pain. It was a pleasure to see you grow over the last 4 years, and I can say without a doubt that this year would not have run as smoothly as it did had it not been for the work that you and Sekou did with running discipline at the school this year. I know balancing your personal care, the responsibilities that you have is something that you still need to develop, but I'm sure you're going to figure it out as you get older. You have an excellent way of pouring yourself into an objective or into a goal, but just make sure that you have to keep the mission in mind while you're trying to take care of the people that are around you. You're a great guy. I can't wait to be able to call you officer or sergeant or colonel. I can tell you now, if you ever try to pull me over while I'm driving through Newark, we're going to have problems. But other than that, I wish you all the best. Continue to grow, be there for your family, and much love, bud. All the best in your future.
Thanks, Mr. White. Another member of Prof Blood, Marco. Mr. Rodriguez, can you tell us a little bit about Marco?
Marco, leaving your family behind to adapt to a new culture is not easy, as you lost everything and everyone who had been there as a source of support your entire life. You did just that, took that leap of faith, hoping that this adventure would open opportunities for you later in life. I had you in class and have to say that you are a hardworking student, one that has taken the opportunity given to you seriously and gracefully. You've been able to adjust to a new culture and be a contributor to our school. You are polite, you are humble, and you are pleasant to be around, always greeting people with a big smile as you come across them in the hallway or any other setting. If you continue to work this hard, you will open many doors in the future. Marco, te deseo lo mejor y ha sido un placer conocerte. Sigue trabajando duramente para poder llegar lejos y muchas gracias por compartir tus habilidades con nosotros. Best of luck, Marco.
Thanks, Mr. Rodriguez. Our next student is Walter, and I've got the privilege of speaking about Walter. Walter, you too another one of the great guys who came to us from South America, from Brazil. You've been a great addition to Benedict's. It's not often that we have a guy who has the love of languages that you've got, fluent in Portuguese, Spanish, English, and working on your French. It's amazing. And the way you carry and conduct yourself reflects this appreciation that you have for languages and cultures and for academics. It's great to see. You're a great role model for what it means to be a serious student, a serious person. I'm sorry that injuries didn't allow us to see your full athletic talents in the soccer field, but you've always had a great perspective on on the role that soccer plays in your life. It's a great hobby for you, that you're passionate about it, but number one for you are your academics. I certainly enjoyed traveling with you to Sweet Home, Alabama. With you, Joao, and Andres, that was a great trip. And it was great to see you appreciate a serious academic place like Birmingham Southern. I'm sorry that the current situation won't have you coming back to the United States to study for college, and that you'll remain in Brazil to study. We wish that you would be closer to us in the coming years, but I'm sure that whatever you do in life, you'll be great at it. You're a gentleman and a scholar. So all the best to you, Walter. And our next student is Matthew. And I asked Mr. Rodriguez if he can speak about Matthew.
Matt, although I never had you in class like some of your siblings, it's been a pleasure to get to know you in a non-conventional teaching setting through 520. I do have to say that I do regret one thing about you, and that is trying to teach you a lesson because it kept me away from you and your charismatic personality. You wanted to work 520 early in your high school career, but missed your first job interview. Me wanted to teach you a lesson, push you to the back of the line, and didn't hire you for months. Something that I truly regret. I wish I had done this differently because you have a very unique personality. In 2 years, I've never seen you angry, disappointed, grumpy, sad, down, depressed, but always encounter me and your peers with a huge smile. Often we would think that something funny happened, and when we asked you, why were you smiling? You would just answer, I'm happy to see you. Your smile and positive attitude is contagious, and you brighten everybody's day around you. Your attention to detail at work, which we had to wait many times for, your academics, and your life will take you far. You've been a huge asset to school, and you will be a huge asset to the university and work setting you will become a part of. I will miss looking at you and smiling from across the room. Best of luck, Matt.
Ms. Kranz, can you please tell us a bit about Demi?
Demi, I know it's probably a little ironic that I'm the one talking about you because I think calculus was your least favorite class this year. But I want to remind you that you were in calculus because you were originally put in pre-calc and you advocated for yourself and you wanted a challenge. So never stop doing that. You like to brag about your ability to commit to things. You committed to your college for next year. You've committed to your girlfriend for a very long time. So make sure you also commit to greatness. You need to do this by surrounding yourself by people that are going to support you, by working hard, and by always, always, always telling the truth. So I know you're going to be successful if you do those things next year. Show GW what you got and do your thing.
Thank you, Ms. Kranz, for talking about our first senior from Jim Kavanaugh. We are moving on to our second senior from Jim Kavanaugh, which is James. And I asked Mr. Delaney if you can please speak about James.
Yes, sir. James. First, I think I want to start with a joke. How do you know if James is in the room? Don't worry, he'll tell you. So I had the pleasure of having James during both the fall and winter semester his senior year. And he's probably one of the students I got to know best over the year. The first thing I want to say, if you don't already know, James, you can be just a little bit annoying, right? But I think the way in which you are annoying, I think, is one of the things that I like most about you, and one of the things that is most endearing. James, you managed to come up with one of the most annoying nicknames for me in my 4 years of teaching here. I'm not going to share that name right now, but I hope that this name does not live on for the seniors next year. Now, I want to say another thing about James, something which is less obvious than the first. James you can work really hard when you want to, right? I think at times you work a lot harder than other students. And James, when I had you in English, I watched you struggle through some really complicated texts, Paradise Lost, Shakespeare, right? But I also saw how you never gave up, right? I know how hard it was for you. And I always appreciated that effort that you put in, whether it was calling me late at night to get help for a paper, right? Or just stopping by my group room to go over what we went over in class, right? So I was really always glad to see your level of commitment going forward. Keep grinding, keep working hard. I know you'll be successful. I hope you decide to pursue a career in law enforcement or criminal justice. You seem to have a great passion for that. And quite frankly, the world can use people in law enforcement like you, someone of such great integrity. So good luck. I'll miss you. Come back and annoy me anytime you want.
Thanks, Mr. Delaney. Mr. Cassidy, can you tell us about Lukey?
So, Logie, you joined us in lower division, and right from the start, you showed us lots of, and it was lower division back then, you showed us lots of personality and promise and leadership. And to invoke his name, your biggest fan emerged right away in Mr. Vespol. He was by far a big Logie fan from the time he met you, the first day you walked into his classroom and then stepped foot on that pool deck. Joining the water polo team was a big deal for you and a big deal for him. And I was sorry to see that you weren't able to finish it out this year, but I know that you were a mainstay of the team for the other years that you were with us. Backpacking was another place where you tended to have your good and bad moments, starting with freshman year when you were the first to ever have a second-degree burn on the trail, as your teammates were nice enough to pour boiling hot water down your sock. But you handled that like a champion. And one way or another, even with all the modifications we had to make, you finished the trail. You walked off it. And we're proud of you for that. You came back to help me on the project in the years after, sometimes being extremely helpful, other times being extremely annoying with your buddy Robbie, just creating all kinds of havoc. But you've also worked with me as a freshman counselor. You've been an assistant group leader. I'm extremely proud of everything you've done. You've maintained high honors. I know it's been a tough year for you, especially you were very close, I know, with both Mr. Petrick and Mr. Vespol. So I know it's been tough, and yet you've persevered. We're very proud of you. I know that they are smiling down on you right now, and I wish you all the best as you move on to Rutgers, New Brunswick, or at least plan to move on to Rutgers, New Brunswick in the fall.
Thanks, Mr. Cassidy. I have the pleasure of speaking about Javon. Javon, you've got one of the most interesting lives outside of Benedict's of the guys in the class because of your involvement in boxing and in NJ Leap. Thanks for embracing the St. Benedict's community even after you came here, and then one of your passions, the reason you came here, boxing, disappeared as a program as soon as you got here. But you still dove in to everything that we do here and continue to do your pre-college, pre-law program at NJ Leap. Not many guys in your class can say that they've spent countless hours after school devoted to academic pursuits other than homework, but you've taken writing and constitutional debate classes throughout high school. Now, as you move on to Rider, it's time to make sure that you transfer that same kind of passion that you have outside of school for law to the courses that you take, right? To get those grades up to where I know you can get them, right? If you've got that much passion about social issues in the law, and from what I've seen, in your writing, I know that you can get the kind of grades that you should be getting in college. Remember that the grades in college are going to matter for getting into law school, and the grades that you get into law school are going to make a big impact on the first job that you get out of law school. So again, take that brain of yours and put it to use 100% in the classroom. Get off on the right foot at Rider and make the most of it. And next, from Jim Kavanaugh, Johari. And the speaker for Johari is Ms. Tordo.
So Johari loves animals and the natural world. Like, he really, really loves animals and has had the goal of becoming a veterinarian as long as I've known him, and I think a lot longer than that. I started slipping him issues of National Wildlife Magazine and Nat Geo last year, and it's like he immediately downloads these facts and figures into his brain, probably while he was reading them during other classes, which is what I found out was happening. Oops. He was a standout intern last year during the community service project at St. Hubert's Animal Welfare Center in Madison, and he completed their Project Compassion training over several months before starting on that internship. The employees there told me that they valued him not just for his hard work with and for the animals, but for how he treated them with empathy and care and love, no matter what condition they were in or whether they were receptive to it or not. Johari, I really encourage you to use your passion for animals as a way to focus your academic efforts, because it's a challenging road to become a vet. And the animals that you're going to help are going to need you, somebody just like you who cares about them, to get there. Good luck next year at Stockton University.
Thanks, Ms. Tordo. Shemar, I get to talk about you. I remember when I first became aware of you, Shemar. It was about a year ago, actually a year and a half ago, in Dr. Lamort's office, fall of 2018. It was the end of the semester, you were having a rough semester, you wanted to quit, and you were saying school just isn't for you. But I could tell from that honesty that you were a really good guy. You were upset, and you were willing to share your honest feelings with Dr. Lamort and anyone else who was in the office at that time. That genuineness is still there today. If I call you, if I text you, whether it's about something good or bad, you'll pick up the phone and you'll call back, and you'll tell me how you really feel. You're honest with others, and that says a lot about you. I also know that you're a hard worker outside of the classroom. You've had lots of jobs at the mall, at summer camps. So I know that you know what it means to grind. But what I want you to take is to add to those, what I want you to do is to add to those great qualities a little bit more self-confidence and a little bit more honesty with yourself. Sometimes when things get hard, you let everything overwhelm you, and you'll quit on a class and not admit to yourself that you could do more. You'll stop doing the little things that could get you out of the small hole that you've dug for yourself at that time. So believe in yourself more, Shemar. Believe that you can turn things around even after you started off on the wrong foot in a class or anything else in life. And recognize when you aren't being honest with yourself. As just, you're an honest person with other people, so recognize when you aren't being honest with yourself. Good luck at Essex County College next year. And make sure you come back and see me when you're ready for the next step after that. I know there will be a next one. Our next person is Stanley. And our speaker is Mr. Rodriguez.
Big Stan. I first came across you when I was your Spanish teacher. But it is not through that setting that I got to know you. It's through driving and helping out with the wrestling team where I first and best got to know you. Stanley, you're an optimistic at heart. Whenever you struggle in the classroom or on the wrestling mat, you truly always believe that you would do better next time. After struggling on a quiz, you would always tell me, I bet I'm going to get such and such grade on the next one, even if that did not come true. As a matter of fact, I bet if I asked you now, you would still believe you're a basketball player and could make our varsity team. Nonetheless, I respect and admire you for your personality. You're a gentle giant, full of optimism, hope, and willingness to stick to things even while experiencing little or no initial success. Your positive attitude and willingness to continue to push through obstacles through obstacles has not only allowed you to experience success academically, but on the wrestling mat as well, placing in several large tournaments towards the end of this year. Stanley, I wish you the best of luck next year. Continue to believe in yourself, and you will do very well for yourself as you open a new chapter in life at Concordia University in Canada. Best of luck, Big Stan.
Thanks, Mr. Rodriguez. Our next senior, Angel from Father John, will be spoken about by Mr. Molina.
I first met Angel back when he was in 8th grade, and I was a house parent for the second time. He had a hard time finding himself even then. Not really focused on his academics, not really the best wrestler he could be. Angel went through the Velvet Rope program after I left the house, and he started to face some of the big challenges in his life. Brother Simon, his house parent, told me that he has seen some significant improvement in Angel over the last few years. When I got to see him again up close, it was senior year, fall semester during physics. And although you only earned a C, you did pretty good, and it was nice having you at the front of the classroom next to Felix. Angel, some advice. Be honest about your struggles with people who care about you and want to help. I know you can be successful, but you can't do it alone. Angel's plans for next year are not finalized yet. We wish you luck on whatever ends up happening.
Thanks, Mr. Molina. Mr. Delaney, can you please share a few words about Anthony?
Yes, sir. I have the pleasure of talking about Anthony. And working with you this year in the classroom and in the CrossFit box has definitely been one of the highlights of the year for me. You're a great student, and you're a great leader, both in and out of the classroom. And you're also always a great sport in class about the analogies that we used about you and your personal life to compare them to some of the characters and the themes that we went over. The class usually got a good laugh of that. And you were always a great sport about that. And you have a kindness to you that draws people to you. It's what drew me to you. I think it's your kindness combined with your extremely hard work ethic and easygoing personality that draws people to you, makes them respect you, and also makes you a great leader. As you move forward, continue to be kind. I think you'll find this to be a strength, not a weakness. I also need to say that although you did skip a lot of afternoon CrossFit workouts for reasons I will not share, but we know what they are, you're still able to have a successful senior year, both in the classroom and in the swimming pool. I'll miss you in the classroom. I'll miss coaching you. I'll miss working out with you. I'll miss watching you compete in the pool. But most of all, I'll miss your friendship. Luckily for us, you're not going far away. So please tell your girlfriend that I expect you in the box every day at 3:30 after the classes that you will be attending at NJIT.
Thanks, Mr. Delaney. Mr. White, one of your rowers, Esteban.
Esteban. 3 years ago, I was in the box with Mr. Delaney, and he came up to me and said, "Have you heard about this transfer kid who rowed?" And I said, "I have no idea." He says, Esteban, you find this guy, he should row. And we all know, and I've heard you lament about it many times, about the assumptions that come with your last name. I've heard many people accuse you of things, accuse you of underperforming, and then I've watched you earn an A in pre-calculus and be one of Miss Kranz's best students. I've heard people accuse you of being lazy just from your last name, and I watch you be the first person to show up at practice and be the last person to leave. I've heard people accuse you of being simple, and I've watched you balance the versatility that's and the discipline that's necessary to perform at a high level, both athletically and academically. And I can say without a doubt that had I not listened to Mr. Delaney, it would have been one of the greatest mistakes in my coaching career, hands down. You are an amazing human being. You really, really, really care about what you do and how you do it. The best advice I can say is to continue to be as loving and compassionate and energetic about the things that are important to you. And don't let what people say about you stop you from achieving the things that you're capable of. You have the capacity to be an excellent leader. And it's not difficult for me to imagine the immense pride that you will bring to your family. I'm incredibly, incredibly proud of you, everything that you've accomplished. And my biggest regrets are that I did not get to see you compete at States and at Stotesbury in Philadelphia. And then my biggest regret of all is that I didn't get to have more time with you. I really, really wish that you had been here for all 4 years. So I wish you all the best at Montclair State. Do not be a stranger, even though I'm certain that I won't need to tell you that. And I wish you all the best and continue to prove people wrong. Much love, bud.
Thanks, Mr. White. Father Edwin, Ibrahim.
Yeah, before I speak of Ibrahim, I want to say two other things. Number one, when David, before was speaking about Matt, and I actually thought he was talking about me when he talking about his even disposition, and he was always smiling. And I said, "Gee, what the hell's David talking about me for?" The second thing I want to say on a more serious note, Dr. Cassidy was talking about one of the guys and who was super connected to Spencer and to Bill Petrick. So there may be people watching this gathering of us at some time in the future who may not know who Spencer or Bill Petrick were. And Spencer was a graduate of ours in 2009 who died at the age of 29 years old from a nasty, nasty cancer. And he was a great friend to most of the kids in the school. He was completely off-center in the way he looked at the world. And a lot of off-center kids were attracted to him. He coached water polo, coached swimming. So, I mean, parents and relatives should know about that, who Spencer is. We're working hard at keeping Spencer alive in the history here of the school. And Bill Petrick was a teacher here when he first got out of college, taught for several years, left, and eventually became a superintendent of schools, being a teacher, being a principal, then being the superintendent. And shortly after he retired, just days after he retired, he called me and said he wanted to come back and teach English. He did that and taught with Spencer, in fact, in the 9th grade team, and headed up that team in the department, I guess, correct, Michelle? The English department. And
Yes.
he had a huge impact. So when Dr. Cassidy was referring to them, I said to myself, well, we got to make sure people remember who both Spencer and Bill Petrick are and continue to be for us from the kingdom of heaven. And then the last thing I would say is that you may have seen me speaking while David was just introducing one of the students, as because someone came by and asked for directions out here on King Boulevard. So I had to give them directions while David was speaking. So my apologies, Dave. Now to Ibrahim. Ibrahim was the center of the conversations, certainly not intellectual conversations, that went on every day at the wrestling table in the cafeteria. And I took up the habit somehow, I don't even know how I did it, of getting a muffin every morning and taking the muffin. I would eat a piece of the top of it and then put it down. It's hard to imagine this in the middle of this epidemic, but I would put it down on the wrestling table. And all of the kids would put their grubby hands in and get a piece of that muffin that Ibrahim dubbed the Magic Muffin. And he would talk about the Magic Muffin regularly every morning. And then at lunchtime, we would all wait until he got there because he would bring comic relief to the table, which sometimes was difficult because when guys are cutting weight, trying to get ready for matches, and they can't eat, Ibrahim always brought a spirit of levity that lifted everybody's spirits, I think. So his plans are to return, I think, to us next year and to do a postgraduate year to continue to wrestle. He was an All-American for us this year, a very, very talented wrestler, a hard worker in the classroom where he finds it much more difficult. But he's the famous Yosemite Sam of the wrestling team. And everybody loved Ibrahim, and he could make really bad days good days. So I look forward to working with you again next year. That's our hope. And we're thankful for all of what you contributed to us since you first came here as a little kid. Thanks, Ibrahim.
Thank you, Father Ed. Ms. Kranz, if you can close out Father John and Maroon section for us by talking about Olamide.
Definitely. So Olamide, I don't know if you remember at the very beginning of this year, when you joined the Green Bees, we found out that there was going to be a climate rally in New York City on a Friday. And so it was a Wednesday, and we got the field trip approved. We got the permission slips in. We did everything we could to have it set. And then on that Friday, a few hours before the field trip was supposed to happen, it got shut down. And that happens a lot in life. Things don't always go as planned. And I think everyone in this class of 2020 knows that better than anyone else right about now. But when things don't happen as planned, when life gives you lemons, even if they're nasty, moldy lemons, you got to make the best of it. And this year, you've demonstrated that over and over again, that that's something where you excel in. Whether it's in class and you tell a joke that you think is going to make me laugh and it ends up getting you in trouble with Roe, or when you're given this opportunity for virtual learning and you took your B- to an A in my class. So, you know, in the long run, when life gets tough, if you learn from the situation, you're not going to lose. And I wish you all the best next year at Felician, although I can imagine in your first semester of math next year, I will be getting 4 phone calls in 15 minutes to help you with that math homework too. So stay in touch and congratulations, and I look forward to what's to come.
Thanks, Ms. Kranz. And this ends our celebration of the Maroon section seniors. Congratulations, guys. And for everyone who watched along with us, thank you. Please join us again tomorrow as we recognize the seniors from Blue section. Have a great day.